Hey there.
Yeah.
Remember us chatting about, your dream trip to the Scottish Highlands?
Right.
Well, guess what? I was looking at some articles and newsletters about Scotland,
Yeah.
and I found the coolest thing ever.
What's that?
Scottish sheepdogs.
Oh, nice.
So knowing how much you love the Highlands,
I do.
I thought we could do a deep dive into, what makes these dogs such incredible herders.
Okay.
One article mentioned this group, Loat Working Sheepdogs,
Okay.
in Kingussie, Scotland.
I see.
And they're doing these awesome demonstrations with their sheepdogs.
Mm-hmm.
And get this, it's all part of the dog's one-year retirement world tour.
Wow, a retirement tour for dogs.
Yeah, retirement and a world tour. Talk about going out in style. It's like a victory lap for these, amazing working dogs.
A well-deserved victory lap, for sure. And it really shows, the strong bond between the dogs and their handlers.
Yeah.
But it also highlights something, even deeper. The really old tradition of sheepdog trials in Scotland. These demonstrations aren't just for fun.
Right.
They show how long we've been breeding and training dogs for the specific skills needed to really thrive in the Highlands.
Yeah, their retirement tour got me thinking about the long history of sheepdogs in Scotland.
Right.
And how they were, so much more than just pets.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The Scottish Highlands, with their rugged terrain and weather that changes all the time,
Yeah.
have basically shaped these dogs over, generations.
Wow.
I mean, we're talking steep hillsides, dense forests, and sheep that could, outsmart anyone.
It's like evolution in action. Can you imagine the centuries it took for these dogs to become, so perfectly suited to that environment?
It's remarkable.
Yeah.
And in that setting, these dogs weren't just, helpful companions.
Right.
They were essential partners.
I see.
Imagine trying to, move a flock of sheep across a rushing stream without a sheepdog.
Yeah, right?
Almost impossible.
Yeah.
These dogs were the key to, making life in the Highlands sustainable. They needed to be intelligent, agile, and, super focused to manage those flocks.
Yeah, instead of just intensely focused, can you, give an example? What does that actually look like?
Okay, so picture this.
Okay.
You're at a sheepdog trial,
Okay.
and the dog is completely locked onto the sheep,
Mm-hmm.
eyes laser focused, even as the sheep scatter in different directions.
Right.
That unwavering concentration, that ability to know what the sheep will do before they do it.
Wow.
That's what I mean by intensely focused.
Yeah.
It's incredible to see.
Wow. I can only imagine. That amount of focus and control it's mind-blowing.
It is.
Speaking of different breeds, one of the articles had a picture of a Shetland sheepdog,
Oh, yeah.
a Sheltie,
Right?
perched on a hill with a medieval castle in the background.
Nice.
Talk about a picture-perfect Scottish scene.
It's a perfect example of how these herding traditions are, woven into Scottish history.
Yeah.
While the Shetland sheepdog, is its own breed.
Yeah.
It shares ancestry with those, tough Highland herders.
Right.
They come from the Shetland Islands.
Mm-hmm.
And they were bred for, similar tasks, but on a smaller scale.
Okay.
Like navigating rocky shores and herding smaller flocks of sheep.
So even though we mostly think of them as pets now,
Right.
those herding instincts are still in their DNA.
Yeah.
It's so cool how traits get passed down through, all those generations.
It is. It's really interesting to see how those instincts show up in a breed that's mostly known as a pet now.
Right.
That intelligence and drive,
Right.
honed over generations,
Yeah.
are still very much a part of them.
Yeah.
In fact, the Kennel Club, which is the official place for dog breeds, officially recognized them in 1909.
Wow. 1909.
Yeah, that shows you how established their lineage is and how consistent their traits are.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Shetland, you mentioned you love, those quirky travel stories.
I do, yeah.
And I found one that's perfect.
Oh, really? What is it?
One of the newsletters had the story about how back in 2013,
Okay.
Scotland, they did this tourism campaign
Okay.
where they, get this, dressed Shetland ponies in sweaters.
Oh, what?
Sweaters! Can you imagine?
Ponies in sweaters. That's hilarious.
It's both hilarious and it just shows you how creative these tourism boards can be, right?
It certainly is a unique way to, to market something.
Right.
I don't know how many tourists they got from, ponies in knitwear, though.
I don't know about that.
It got people talking about it, that's for sure.
That's for sure. It kind of reminds me of what we were talking about before.
Yeah.
about, how these herding dogs in the landscape, even these, funny stories like the sweater ponies,
Right, yeah.
all paint this picture of like Scotland's rich history and, unique character.
Yeah.
But going back to the sheepdogs themselves, I got to
Okay.
ask,
Yeah.
what about the ones who become, family pets? Do they still have that like herding instinct?
That's the big question. It
Yeah.
really shows something important from all this. While, like, these dogs were bred for centuries to do very specific things,
Right.
part of what makes them so amazing is that they can, like, adapt,
Oh, wow.
you know?
So they can go from herding sheep in the Highlands to like chilling out in a living room somewhere?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's so cool.
But, those instincts don't just disappear.
Right.
You might see it in the way they interact with other animals or their, like, energy levels,
Yeah.
even in how they try to herd their, human family.
That's hilarious. I can totally picture a Sheltie trying to like herd its family into a room or something.
Yeah. And, it shows how strong breeding is.
Yeah.
And it shows the, like, lasting legacy of these dogs.
Uh-huh.
They have this whole other side to their personality.
Right.
This, like, hidden depth that comes from generations of, work in the land.
It makes you wonder, like, what are they thinking when they're looking at us, Like, are they judging our herding skills or lack thereof?
They probably have a few tips they'd like to give us. Yeah.
I bet they do. But
Right.
they're looking at us like, come on, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've talked about their history, their amazing focus.
Right.
But what's everyday life like for a Scottish sheepdog that, lives as a pet?
Hmm.
Like, do they ever just, I don't know, snap out of it and start herding squirrels or something?
Well, it's not like they can, just turn those instincts off.
Right.
It's more like those instincts become different behaviors.
Oh, like what kind of, give me some examples. I bet it's funny to see.
Okay, think about it.
Okay.
That, really strong focus they have on sheep.
Yeah.
You might see that when they're playing fetch.
Okay.
It's not just, chasing a ball.
Right.
It's like a mission for them.
Oh, okay.
You know?
I see. So my friend's dog, he treats every crumb like it's, the last food on earth. Right. But with sheepdogs, it's like next level, right?
Exactly. And that herding instinct.
Yeah.
You might see it when they nudge you with their nose.
Go.
Or when they try to keep everyone together when you're, out for a walk.
So instead of herding sheep through the Highlands, they're herding like their families through the park.
Precisely. And, it's those little quirks,
Yeah.
those little glimpses of where they came from
Hmm.
that make them such, like, interesting companions.
Yeah.
They're a living link to a time when humans and dogs, like, really needed each other to survive.
Yeah.
A partnership that, was made in the wilds of Scotland.
Wow, you really see how much history these dogs have. They're
Yeah.
not just pets. It's like they're, little furry ambassadors from the past.
That's a great way to put it. And, just like those bagpipes we talked about,
Yeah.
they remind us that it's important to, like, keep traditions alive,
Yeah.
even as things change around us.
Yeah. So true. So next time you see a Scottish sheepdog, whether it's on a, hillside in the Highlands or walking down the street somewhere,
Yeah.
just, take a second to appreciate their legacy. They show us the power of instinct and the bond between humans and animals
For sure.
and the spirit of Scotland,
Absolutely.
And I think on that note, we've rounded up all of these amazing facts.
We have. It's been fun. Until next time.
Happy trails, everyone. It's like they have this, like this secret ancient wisdom passed down from like generations of sheepdogs,
Yeah.
and they're waiting for us to figure it out.
Maybe one day.
Yeah.
But speaking of, like, ancient wisdom,
Okay.
did you know the traditional Scottish bagpipe? The handmade ones?
Yeah.
They might be in trouble.
Right. That was in that newsletter about Scotland.
Yeah.
It was like machine-made bagpipes are threatening the craft.
Exactly. It seems like because these mass-produced bagpipes are, cheaper,
Right.
it's harder for the traditional artisans to, to keep up.
Yeah.
It's happening everywhere. But
Yeah.
it's especially sad when it's something so connected to a culture,
I totally agree. I mean, you think Scotland.
Right.
You think bagpipes.
Yeah.
They're like the soundtrack,
Luckily.
Like imagine those hills, those misty glens
Yeah.
without bagpipes echoing through them.
That's a sound that's been around for so long,
Mhm.
connecting, like, all the generations.
Right?
And it makes you think, what other cool things might we be losing
Yeah, good point.
in this, modern world?
It's like we're so caught up in like everything being new and now
Hmm.
that we forget about like the old stuff.
It's a tough balance,
Yeah.
moving forward, but also holding on to the things that make a culture special.
Right. Speaking of special, those sweater-wearing Shetland ponies definitely count, right?
Uh-huh.
Though maybe not, like as timeless as the bagpipes or the sheepdogs.
Probably not, but they do remind us that
Yeah.
even with all the tradition, there's always room for a little fun. you
Yeah.
know?
For sure. So, okay, we've got sheepdogs, bagpipes, ponies, and sweaters.
Right.
Anything else about Scotland catch your eye?
Well, remembering you love those adventure stories,
I do.
I found one about this woman, Maggie Call, from
Okay.
Edinburgh,
Mm-hmm.
and she's going to Antarctica
Wow.
to count penguins.
Wait, really? She's going all the way to Antarctica
Yeah.
to count penguins? That's amazing.
Right.
What made her want to do that?
Apparently, she's, always loved Antarctica.
Cool.
And she saw this as, a chance to help with some important research
Mm-hmm.
and have this, once-in-a-lifetime experience.
5 months in Antarctica counting penguins.
That's right.
That's like a dream job. Although, knowing me, I'd be the one getting chased by a leopard seal or something.
I think you'd be all right.
I hope so.
But it makes you appreciate, the adventurous spirit of people like Maggie.
Yeah.
And it brings us back to something we talked about earlier. That connection between Scotland and, nature.
Totally. Like from the Highlands shaping the sheepdogs to Maggie going to Antarctica.
Yeah.
There's this like boldness, this willingness to like embrace the wild side
Absolutely.
that seems to be a part of like the Scottish spirit.
And you see that same spirit in the sheepdogs, too.
Yeah.
They're up for anything.
Right.
It's in their blood.
Which actually makes me think of something.
Yeah, what's that?
So we talked about their history,
Mm-hmm.
their incredible focus and all that.
Right.
But what about the ones who like, you live as pets?
Yeah.
Do they ever just like snap out of it and start hurting like the neighborhood squirrels or something?
Well, it's not like they have an off switch for those instincts.
Right.
It's more like those instincts, they become different things.
Okay, like what? Give me some examples. That's got to be hilarious to see.
Okay, so remember how focused they are on sheep.
Yeah.
You might see that when they play fetch.
Okay.
It's not just playing, to them it's serious business.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So like my friend's dog, he treats every crumb like it's the last one.
Exactly.
But sheepdogs take it to like a whole other level.
Exactly. And remember their herding instinct?
Yeah.
They might nudge you with their nose or try to keep everyone close on a walk.
So instead of herding sheep through the Highlands, they're herding their families, like, and the park.
That's it. And it's those little things, those little signs of where they came from that make them such, amazing companions.
Yeah.
They're like a connection to a time when humans and dogs really needed each other.
Wow.
A partnership forged in, the Scottish wilderness.
They really do have such a rich history.
They do.
It's like they're not just pets. They're like, I don't know, furry little ambassadors from the past.
That's a great way to put it. And it reminds me of, those bagpipes we were talking about.
Yeah.
They make us think about keeping those traditions alive,
Yeah.
even as things around us change.
Yeah. So true. So the next time you see a Scottish sheepdog, whether they're in the Highlands or just walking down the street,
Absolutely.
just, take a second to like think about their story.
Absolutely.
They represent the power of instinct, the bond between, us and animals and that true spirit of Scotland.
They do.
Well, on that note, I think we've rounded up this whole herd of fascinating facts.
We have. It's been great.
It has. Until next time.
See ya.
Happy trails, everyone.